Once again, it is time for a monthly PopCross Community Redraw. I mean, this month it's not strictly a redraw because I'm not drawing the characters as they were submitted, which is a bunch of awesome characters involving people's favorite food in some kind of way. No, instead this month I'm doing something I've done before. I'm taking the submissions and redrawing a whole bunch of them in my style if they were Venomized. In between drawing a bunch of the characters Venomized, I'll also show off a whole bunch of the awesome stuff submitted. It was awesome seeing how many people got really creative incorporating their favorite food into their art and characters. So if you're excited to see some awesome art and excited to see some Venomization, hit the like button so we can get into the drawing. I can only start when you hit the like button. It's a new rule they've incorporated. I just, got that. Okay, awesome, thanks, let's go. Our first character comes to us from Free Falling 101 on the Discord with a simple description: a warrior powered by the best food ever, watermelon. And right when I saw this character, I was like, I am so excited to do something with this character. And this was actually one of the submissions where I was tempted to just do a strictly redraw episode this episode because I really wanted to draw this character in my style as he was, but I was like, no, this is going to be a cool one to Venomize too. He's going to look awesome with a Venom symbiote on him, and I do end up liking the Venomized version. I try to keep it pretty strictly similar to your original design, only changing up a bit of stuff, enough to make it look Venomized, but still have a lot of your original vision in there. I think the only big change I make is I got rid of the cape, and I actually do that a couple times in this episode, take away capes from characters in the Venomizing process. I don't really know why, I just, can't really picture a Venomized character with a cape, so I was like, let's just say the cape gets kind of molded in under the symbiote pressed against the body, or the symbiote just tosses it away. I also tried to big up his upper body a little bit more, exaggerate his proportions, because Venomizing the character often makes the character more muscular. And then I added some strands of venomy, watermelon-y goop coming off the character, kind of in place of the cape, but not really, just to have some kind of similar-ish element. To keep more of your original design in there as well, I also had one of his arms, the one with the axe in it, not totally Venomized yet. And so that part of the character, I just used your exact coloring, and then for other parts of him, I kind of darkened up the colors a bunch. And overall, I really like how this one turned out. You gave me so much to work with your original character being so cool, and I hope you like my Venomized version. Here you go, Free Fallin' 101. And next up, we've got a character with some really cool proportions coming to us from Barry, or Barry Artist. And the description goes like this: I drew an old character of mine digitally for this month's prompt, Senorina, which here in Portugal roughly means little carrot. And even though I'm half Portuguese myself, I probably pronounced that really badly. I'm still figuring out my art style and how to draw digitally, and your videos about discovering your own art style really helped. That's very nice of you to say. And I was so excited to do this character because it's such a great, simple design, but as I said, the proportions are just really cool. I love the really narrow waist going into the, I guess not legs, the tail, floaty tail part, and the giant hands and forearms, the tiny head, the big hair. It was, everything about it was so great. I really love it. And even the little pops of brown triangle in the background, it's just so great, and I knew it was going to be especially fun to Venomize. I tried to go with the same colors you had, but just kind of make them a darker reddish-y orange for the parts that have already been Venomized. And then in terms of the other Venom parts, I added a Venomized spider logo, but as if it was made out of little white carrots. And I think that was kind of a fun, goofy element on a character that mostly ends up looking pretty cool, I think. Also, as I'm one to do, one of my favorite things in Venomizing stuff is I have a bunch of the strands still going over the character so that I could show off a little bit of the original design. Actually, I guess I did pretty much the same thing in terms of how Venomized he was in this one as with the last drawing, but this was such a different character that I think it comes up with a cool, different result. Also tried to add like a little bit of a leafiness on the tongue. Don't know if that totally came across, but either way, love how this one turned out. It was a great character to work with, Barry, and I hope you like my Venomized version. Next up, we have got our second watermelon character of the video coming to us from ASWD_bird on the Discord. And it's got a pretty short description too. Goes like this. Hi, this is Watermelody. She is a girl who has the power to shoot exploding watermelon seeds from her hands, and she is very shy and quirky. And from that description and the look of the character, I was just like, I gotta do one of my classic things and have the character pulling some Venomized stuff off them. Like she's confused and nervous and was like, oh, what's going on? Pulling the venom off her. And it was, this is always a fun one to do, and you gave me a great character to work with. I particularly liked how you have the two different eyes and wanted to make sure that I could work that into my design, and it was even easier for me to do because I was already having half the character's face showing. And in general, I really love the colors on this whole character. It's like saturated but not oversaturated. Just the way you did the pinks and greens work really nicely together. I think my version, it almost ends up looking more like she's a strawberry character because as I've been doing, I darkened up the reds and the greens a little bit, so it does kind of look more like she's a strawberry character in mine. But, you know, maybe the Venom symbiote that's going on to her prefers strawberries over watermelons and is leaning that way. I knew I had to do a sort of halfway Venomized one for this one, particularly because it was such a cute character, and I really love that contrast of the freaky, toothy, venomy face partially going over a character that's really cute and adorable and maybe even a little confused and scared about what's going on. But I'm sure once she accepts that the symbiote's there to help, this is gonna be a pretty powerful watermelon / strawberry character. Awesome work, ASWD Bird, and I hope you like the Venomized version. Next up is another coming to us from the Discord from Zinzin, a longtime member of the PopCross community, and the description goes like this. This is my submission for this month's redraw. I tried to make my favorite food, barbecue ribs, as a monster, and I hope I succeeded with that. Its face and body is dripping with barbecue sauce, and the eyes are salt, and its spine is the bone part. And it was just such a cool drawing. I really love this look of a simple design, but done in a really textured, painterly way. I think it's just such a nice combination, and you did a good job giving it that sort of glistening barbecue sauce look. And I think you actually pulled it off better than I ended up pulling it off. But I knew it was gonna be fun having a goopy character get venomized because that's just like goop on goop. But I wanted to make sure the two goops were different looking, so I ended up trying to render them out differently. For one thing, obviously doing them very different colors, and then the other, I put my usual texture on the Venom symbiote, but then I leave the barbecue sauce parts a little bit less textured so it can look a little bit shinier and more glistening, and I kind of smooth out the lines a bit more on it. I think in my version, the Venomized part ends up looking a little bit better than the barbecue saucy part, but it was definitely a fun challenge and such a great character to work with. I particularly loved your idea for having the salt rock kind of things as the eyes. I thought that was really cool. Everything about the original drawing was so great, and you know, I hope I did it justice in your eyes with my Venomized version. Here you go, Zinzin, and thank you for being such an awesome member of the PopCross community. Now, next up is a character that was already getting Venomized in the original submission, coming to us from Marco Popov, and I was like, well, this works out well. Actually, a few people Venomized their submissions before I could even get to them, but this is the only one that I actually decided to take and, further Venomize myself. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's the description. At the end of Spider-Man 3, Venom gets blown up. Or so they thought. A little chunk of him survives and searches for something that he can attach himself to. He eventually finds a banana. He then gives it life and fuses with it. After getting to know his new banana body, he constantly tries to kill Peter Parker, hoping one day to succeed. There's such a fun, goofy idea and of course the fact that it was Venomized already, I was like, oh well, this is gonna be fun. It's already unknowingly on theme with the video, even more so. And I decided to add a little bit more texture and put the strands going all over the place a little bit more. I figured because I'm changing up some of the other drawings more, I should try and change this one a bit more too. I decided to put like a spike on the, I don't know what the hilt of a banana is called, I guess. Whatever that is, I decided to put a spike there because a lot of the time I just put spikes on Venomized characters. I freakied up the face a little bit more, and then I tried to add a bit of brown splotches as if once he's Venomized, he's kind of a bit more of a bruised banana. Even though, Venom would be able to heal from bruises, I was thinking more, not like a damaged banana, but just, make it a little bit more gruff and gritty looking, because it's Venomized. It's supposed to be a bit less pleasant to look at. And the result definitely ends up really fun and weird and goofy. Definitely had so much fun with this one, and I hope you like my take on it, Marco Popov. Here you go. Next up, we have got a super cool dragon coming to us from Meggy W. And I was so excited to see this submission because I recognized Meggy's style from a previous video. And I'm so glad you submitted again so that I could get to one of your characters. Such a cool character, and let's do the description. Well, candy is technically food, I guess, and I love candy. So since I love candy a lot, I created a candy dragon named Slatkey. Slatkey means sweet in my national language. I didn't write too much info on the reference picture because I like to write in short and because it needs a lot of context from my story to be understandable, so don't focus too much on that. And I imagine there is a very interesting backstory to this character because the design is so cool and wild. I love how it's very candy focused, but then there's also kind of like exposed bone part on the character. It gives it this really cool blend of cute and sweet, but also a little bit eerie, and it's just, it's such a cool character. You have so many cool designs in general, and I knew Venomizing it was going to be a lot of fun because I could lean into the creepier parts of the character. Gave it like a nice long thin tongue, made the face a little bit freakier looking. I sharpened the horns and pointed them back a little bit. I'm realizing now that I kind of got rid of the, what are they, antenna kind of things? Probably should have thought of a way to work those in, but I also tried to make the character less tasty looking. So I leaned more into the color changes for this one, made it a lot more black, venomy looking, leaned into some mustardy yellows instead of like a sweet and tasty pleasant yellow, put some red in there. I kind of darkened your pink areas into more of red. And I mean, eventually I plan on doing a whole video on Venomized dragons, but this was definitely fun to get me thinking about how I'm going to do that even more in future episodes. Just before we get to the last two drawings, I just wanted to jump in and mention to everybody that I was actually interviewed on a really fun podcast this week. It's called Comics, Clerics, and Controllers. It's hosted by a guy named Cameron R. Day, and it's got a similar, kind of nerdy Dungeons and Dragons comics-focused vibe that this channel kind of has. On it, I got to talk about how I got here in terms of my career as a professional art YouTuber now, And I got to talk about a ridiculous episode that I never ended up making, that I kinda regretted never making, but the time has passed for it now. And a whole bunch of other stuff, so I'll make sure to link the episode in the description and in the pinned comment. Make sure to check it out, it's a lot of fun, and if you enjoy it, check out a bunch of his other episodes. But anyway, back into the last two Venomizations. Next up comes to us from CEO of Big Boy, which is a fun name, and the description goes like this. My character is a gingerbread warrior. He himself is a gingerbread man, but his armor consists of many other types of cookies and candy. After seeing so many of his kind brutally murdered and eaten, this warrior decided to take things into his own hands and serve as a vigilante for his people. My inspiration obviously comes from Christmas cookies, which are my favorite food. And then Big Boy also says that this has been posted on @BigBoyDraws15 on Instagram. And with this one, I wish I'd gotten a little bit more creative with my Venomized version. The main Venomizing thing I did, besides bulking him up a bit, was I took the chocolate armor on the character and had the strands going around him a little bit more, almost like the chocolate was melting, but sort of also in venomized strands to kind of keep them on instead of the bands that you had. And then also, obviously, I give him a bit more of a venomy looking face. I had a lot of fun playing with the Twizzler kind of hair, or Red Vine kind of hair, whichever you prefer is probably the one that is. And I also just liked the canon idea that this character can be helped even more by having Venom on them. Like, this character is a vigilante already, going after people that are killing off his people, and this is just gonna really help him out. I also wished I'd taken a bit more time to do a bit more of a cookie texture on the character. I think that could have been a cool way to go with it, but this was one of those ones where I didn't want to change it up too much because I just really liked your original design. So I tried to just add some token venomizing elements. And I think it works well enough, and I hope you like my take on it. The Venomized Gingerbread Warrior. And our final character of the day comes to us from another very long-time member of the PopCross community, Isaiah the Mangaka. And the description of the character is really fantastic and goes like this. Christoph Patrickson Bacon, or in short, Chris P. Bacon, was your average glutton with an odd affection for all kinds of bacon. He loved bacon to the point where he'd eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, either directly or in combo with other foods. His affection would eventually bite him in the back, when one day his physiology changed into an eternal combusted slide of bacon. You see, he ate bacon so much that the calories and fat of bacon morphed his body on a molecular level, changing him into a being of tender goodness. The morph, however, also gave him various abilities involving bacon, such as the ability to attract and manipulate fire, which is why his body is constantly in flames, and the ability to manipulate the huge amounts of fat within him. By absorbing bacon and fat, he becomes more and more powerful. Now, as a walking, flaming side of bacon, he goes by the name Crispy Bacon, which is basically his name in short, said quickly. Hope you guys enjoy this tender crisp. And that was just, I love the design of the character. It was nice and simple. I like a good flaming powered character, but you really sold me with that description and that name. As soon as I saw the character and started reading Christoph Patrickson, I knew exactly where I was going. I was like, yes, Crispy Bacon, so great. And I didn't just choose it because, it kind of has my initials, Christian Pearson Bacon. I guess not really, his initials would be CPB, but you get what I mean. Either way, it was a great description, a great character, and I hope you liked my Venomized take, which was basically just changing the colors and giving him a mouth stomach. Here you go, Isaiah. Hope you enjoy it. Alright everybody, we've got our background for the next month. Thank you to everyone who submitted. It was so cool going through all the art. Even if your art wasn't shown in this video or redrawn in this video, as long as it was sent to the Discord or the email address, I have seen all of it, and it was so cool. It was a really great month for submissions this month. And of course, if you want to get in on the next month, links and instructions for submitting are in the description below. And the theme for June 2020 is Hero Sonas. Basically, I want you to design yourself as a superhero. Superhero, not villain. This month, just heroes. And that can be your own take on an existing superhero, like you can do a Spider Sona for yourself if you want, or a Captain America Sona, or Batman Sona. Put yourself in Marvel, DC, My Hero Academia, Ben 10. Or you can do a totally original superhero, as long as it's you as a superhero. It's been a while since we did a superhero-focused one, and I can't wait to see what you all submit. And who knows, maybe I'll change things up again, maybe I won't strictly be redrawing them, maybe I'll be changing them up in some way. We'll see what happens. I honestly haven't actually decided yet. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to check out a whole bunch of the other Venomizing episodes we got on here. We've done Ben 10, My Hero Academia, Justice League characters, Doom characters, the whole ton of stuff. Go to the Venomizing playlist. But that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson. This has been PopCross Studios, home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. Get hyped for a Marvel and DC focused episode coming out on Monday, and I will see you all then. Goodbye, everybody.